And speaking of blowing it even further, I've got it. I said the 6-man tag was at least the closest thing on the show to a wrestling match, but I didn't enjoy it more than everything. There was one thing that I have to admit I enjoyed much more than I thought I would.
The women's three-way?
No.
Oh.
And if I was going to enjoy a women's three-way, it probably wouldn't be these three women. But for the mascot title, the plumber versus Pockets, the teacher's pet versus the wrestler's regret. And Moxley finally gets his comeuppance that he's deserved for a long time now with his rotten wrestling and his garbage wrestling-minded ways. Did you see any of this?
I did, because I wanted to see if I was right, and I was right. Orange Cassidy went over.
Well, but that's not the story. The story is that Moxley obviously was like, you motherfucker. And hearing he had to do this, even though he's getting paid a couple $1 million, put the fucking mascot over. He is the worst wrestler in the world, but he's got a name. People know him. He's been a world champion. And he's portrayed as a main event guy here. And he's got to put over the fucking boss's pet action figure. And you could tell from the start, he beat the fuck out of this guy. He didn't sell shit. He took bumps and got right back up if he did go down. If it had been any other fucking wrestler in the world beating the idiot up like this, I would have loved it, but especially seeing the plumber, because I knew as soon as I saw that you were going to be right. And of course, he still bled. He still bled. I don't think fucking Pockets did it to him. I think he just, no. It was when he was headbutting Pockets. He busted himself open.
Well, he came out with a big bandage on his head.
Yeah, he probably, to avoid the criticism of being seen by God and everybody, taking the fucking gimmick to his head, he probably bladed in the locker room and new-skinned it or whatever. But nevertheless, he went through the motions of selling for the guy a few times, but he didn't. And he beat the shit out of the little fucking goof the whole time, except in a working way most of the time, because the strikes, in quotation marks in this, were some of the phoniest ever. But it looked like bum fights with the one guy with the fucking blue jeans and the plumber just with that face and physique. It looked like that. What was it, a pay-per-view series, or was it a DVD series where they'd get homeless bums to fight for $10 or whatever?
Both. I think eventually did get on pay-per-view.
Well, there you go. But finally, Moxley got run into the bare turnbuckle that had the pad taken off of it head first, not once but twice, and then took 6 of Roman Reigns' finish, the Superman punches. Of course, none of them connected, actually. He whiffed every one of them like he always does with his buggy whip arms. I think when he jumps up in the air, the wind blows Pockets off course. He's so fucking skinny. And then Moxley laid down for him 1, 2, 3. And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. The plumber goes down the drain. What the fuck? Oh my God. Can you imagine how fucking pissed he was to hear that this was going to happen? Moxley, I'm talking about.
He had to know it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. It was obvious this was going to be the result. I mean, I didn't know it was going to be like an Ultimate Warrior Randy Savage thing where Savage had to hit the Warrior with like 8 elbows or whatever, or 5 elbows to pin him. He just kept punching Moxley over and over, and it's the biggest self-fulfilling prophecy in AEW, Orange Cassidy. And I told you, they're not going to stop until they put the world title on him. Tony is not going to stop until he gets the world title on Orange Cassidy.
Well, I can't. You know what? I may buy that pay-per-view twice to see that, just so that we can see the end of Tony's, probably not only his company, but also his freedom. I think what is it, a 5150 they'd get him on, or is that a drive-by shooting? I'm not up on all my fucking police codes, but some type of involuntary hold. over at a rubber room at the Puzzle Factory. Anyway,